The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
What is going on, everybody? It is Thursday. It's because we've got too much shit to do tomorrow. So we are the dads.
Some of us have to work.
Yeah, you know, people have jobs now. This isn't like, 3-4 years ago when we came back and completely freaking pirate used Star Wars music to come back. We actually have jobs and shit going on now. So
have we really been back doing this for 4 years?
We did the Star Wars movies ranking during the pandemic, brother.
I know. It doesn't feel like it's been 4 years, bro.
Yeah, it's bro.
We're gonna have
I'll tell you, bro.
We're gonna have to do a big thing next year for the 5th anniversary since coming back.
Revenge of the 5th.
We've legitimately done this run longer than the original run.
Ain't that some shit? Hey, well, no, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Because that's true. Because we had
that may have been weekly, it only lasted for about a year.
Well,
maybe close to 2 years.
Well, no, because we were doing the dads when I would come back to visit when y'all moved to as a D18 adjunct across the hall.
But that was a reboot.
Okay, that's valid. And even that didn't last a full year, I don't think either.
No.
Damn. Well, then, happy almost 5th anniversary to us. Or actually, we just passed the 4th. So may the 4th anniversary be with us till next May. Anyway, we are the dads. You can figure it out by the freaking background. There's the logo's freaking everywhere. As well as on the cover sheet for today, because we are giving our choices for the top 10 all-time albums. Now, as the description says, much in the pattern of Robin Williams impersonating, I forget who he was impersonating as a genie at that point in that movie, because he did so many damn voices, as Robin Williams do. There are a few requirements, few quid pro quos here, but it's still, even with the requirements, the qualifications that we had to do, this still turned out to be very difficult, especially for me. I'm not the music guy, we all know that. But I thoroughly enjoy. Once I figured out the rhythm of it, once I stopped overthinking shit in my head, like, all right, I got this. Here, off we go.
See, and for me, it was the flip side. Like the first few came no problem.
Right.
Like I probably had 6 or 7, no questions asked.
Sure.
Then it was trying to fill in the other 3.
Okay.
Because I am more of a music guy, so those first few came to me very easily.
Yeah, see, for me, it was also about I grew up in a different music environment than you did, because my family did not listen to music at home on the regular, because both my parents were out of the house on the regular and when I was growing up. And when we were listening to music, it was in the car on the way somewhere. Very rarely a album, because up until whatever cassettes came out, you couldn't stick a big giant vinyl record in your freaking player in your car. Didn't exist.
No.
If you had an 8-track, you were in good shape.
I was going to say, back in my day, they had 8-track tapes, Sonny.
Yes, I don't. God, it's I was so young. I don't remember there being an 8-track in either of the original cars from my parents, but I can't verify one way or the other in my brain, because baby brain don't work that way.
I vaguely remember an 8-track in one of the first cars I rode in.
There you go. Definitely cassettes. Definitely had cassette players. No doubt about that.
Definitely cassettes, and then of course the CD players.
Yeah, God.
And if you were real fancy, you'd get the multi-disc changer set up in the trunk.
Shit.
You had 5 or 6 discs.
My dad
just roll on like a road trip.
As long as we had that Thunderbird, which my dad leased out and I ended up buying in '97. So we had that car until just before pandemic, because it was passed down to my brother. As soon as the thing became available, 6-disc technology, Jesus Christ, dude, he couldn't wait to get to the freaking sound man over here at the corner of Valencia and Bouquet, and just like, all right, let's do it. And that sucker was beautiful. It only stopped working just because of sheer volume of use. because road trips, like you said. But yeah, so when I did get to hear albums the whole way through, it had to be on a long road trip or something like that. So my choosing the albums, I'm going first, non-wrestling week, follow the pattern, kids. We've been back 4 years now. It's definitely going to be, okay, I heard the bulk of them on the radio, but I still can throw in the album and not skip more than one song if it's playing the whole way through, which was which was the main requirement at the end of the day.
Yes,
as he said in the description.
I was going to say, let's hit them with the requirements one more time.
Yes.
Those people that may be watching on the X and didn't see a show description, as it seems like all 28 of our viewers right now are watching on your Twitter account.
Oh, well, there you go.
Nobody is in the YouTube, so they wouldn't know the regulations.
This is valid. And it can also be listening in the car on the way to or from work. So yeah.
No greatest hits albums. In the same vein, no live albums, because live albums are essentially greatest hits albums being played.
That's it.
Live.
They play the hits. Yeah.
No soundtracks, except in the instance of like Prince Purple Rain.
Right.
Where it's a singular artist doing the entire album for a movie that they star in.
Right.
No more than one skippable track.
And that was the key.
Yeah, because if these albums are as good as we're going to tout them to be,
right,
truthfully speaking, there shouldn't be any skips on it.
Right.
But, you take an album by arguably the greatest band of all time, the Beatles.
Okay.
Who can honestly say that they listen to the White Album and they don't skip Revolution 9?
Right. Exactly.
In all seriousness.
No,
there may be other songs on there that you don't care for that you skip.
Right.
But I'd almost be willing to bet you that Paul and Ringo still skip Revolution 9 when they listen to the White Album, and they're the band.
Yeah, that's it.
So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And then this wasn't an official rule,
right,
but we both kind of stuck to this anyway. No more than one album per artist.
Right.
Because being a Beatles guy, it would have been very easy to come out here and been like, please, please me, with the Beatles, A Hard Day's Night, Help, Rubber Soul, Revolver, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Magical Mystery Tour, Abbey Road, Let It Be. There's my 10. We're done.
That's it.
And yes, A Hard Day's Night, Help, Let It Be, Magical Mystery Tour would count because they are soundtracks to movies that are just one artist that those people started.
Yep.
So it would fit that qualification.
Exactly.
But I feel like that would be cheap.
Yeah.
Just rattle off your favorite artist's discography for you.
Right.
Start listing off the Eagles albums. Call it a day.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And to the main qualification, the first Eagles album I ever heard was their greatest hits. The first one from 71-75 with that eagle skull on it. Didn't have a lot of the tracks on all those other albums before that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I heard them, it's like, these are good, but I don't need them in my life. At the end of the day. So yeah, it would have been a skipping situation if I had the albums they were contained in. And yeah, no compilations, man. I'll tell you what, Eagles Legacy that finally came out, I think it was in like an 03 or 09 or whatever it was, the giant red cover. Shit. Let that motherfucker on loop. Like I'm good for the day because it's that long.
Yeah. But now that's what I call music volume. Those don't count.
We save those for Saturdays when we're plugging Noah's CDs that are coming out
that's
any day
right.
now. Any damn day now, people.
That's what I
call music. That's right. Noah slow jams, and no, that's what I call Disney.
And we've said it a few times. Jeff tried to fight diligently for something like the Grease soundtrack, but
yes,
Danny doesn't sing every track. Danny doesn't sing Hopelessly Devoted to You. Danny doesn't sing Beauty School Dropout. Danny doesn't sing Look at Me, I'm Sandra Dee. Other artists, other performers sing the songs, so it's not all by one artist.
Well, if Travolta had been Hopelessly Devoted, he wouldn't have gotten so much goddamn trouble in that movie now, wouldn't he? So anyway.
That's a whole other story.
Look at her, John. You're killing me. Anyway.
Woohoo! We finally got some people on YouTube watching. Yay! Hi, YouTubers.
Hi, guys.
And they're
hi. Sorry, it was just a Jericho bit that one time.
Away.
Oh God! All right.
So let's get down to business. No, we are not defeating Huns.
That's right. No, I wasn't watching that one today. I wasn't watching that. I was actually watching Hercules program on there. First time in years. But anyway, so before I start my actual list, since I was letting on this little caveat about 10 minutes before we hit live, I have to mention the Christmas album by the Chipmunks because it's the same artist. Yes, if you go back and dissect it, it's all Ross Bagdasarian doing all him damn voices. David Seville and the Three Chipmunks because technology was available at the time to do that. It wasn't him just doing this off the cuff. Oh no, they wound the hell out of that thing. But the Christmas album, the first Chipmunks album they ever put out, was just so much a part of my childhood. My mother dreaded going to Disneyland on our annual Christmas time vacation trip because she knew that my dad would allow us. The very first thing that would go in that car would be that album, be it on cassette or later on CD. So she dreaded going on the car trips to Disneyland because driving Anaheim back then, before the Orange Crutch opened up, was a mucker father of a long trip from Santa Clarita and Canyon Country, whatever you want to call it. Of course, when the family expanded to 2 cars, she's like, "All right, I got the non-Frank car." So yeah, she got smart once we expanded the family.
So she would have to deal with the Chipmunks on the drive down,
right?
And then the tra-la-la-la-las once y'all got there.
Oh yes,
but that was doomed.
Well, see, but the trial didn't come till the 1997 Florida trip. Once we got past that, yeah, it was pretty much downhill from there. But I was already 14 at that point, so whatever. Anyway,
good to see you. You haven't missed anything except almost 15 minutes of us rambling.
Yes.
Jeff just gave an honorable mention, and he's about to start off his official list.
Yes. So the first one, speaking of my dad, that I picked, I went back and looked at one of his favorite songs that whenever it comes up on the radio, he stops, doesn't matter, and makes sure that song gets played through. It's such an ingrained part of my lack of soul that when they play it in the background music Frontierland, I stop and I just get a tear in my eye thinking about my dad. He's still alive, but when you're at Disneyland working, you don't get to see family a lot because the commute's a bitch. So I'm talking about the gunfighter ballads and trail songs from Marty Robbins. Of course, El Paso is the song I'm referring to because that's my dad's jam. But I actually went back and listened to this album the whole way through yesterday in the process of figuring out this one I want to go with. And it's like, if this comes on, I'm not skipping these songs. They're all classic Marty Robbins. And, everybody, younger than basically us is going to go, who's Marty Robbins? Like, well, showcase, Johnny, do your homeworks, bro. Because Marty Robbins is unfortunately for our generation and further on, kind of a forgotten jewel because, he was from that generation that, in the 50s and 60s. So unless you're hitting that Shotgun Tom Kelly show on Sirius, you're not hearing a whole lot of Marty Robbins these days. So, but I love El Paso. I love hearing the instrumental of El Paso. And like I said, in Disneyland. So it's like, once I got there, it's like, okay, let's hear the rest of the album. And I found myself enjoying the whole thing. So, yes, there will be days where I'm just going, okay, skip, if I'm in a hurry, but this isn't one of the ones where I would, necessarily just go, meh, 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 meh. No, I'm good. So that's where, and again, I'm going in and ranking based on release because trying to have these be the top 10, like they're so different that it's like, okay, do I put this one? It's literally, Linda Ronstadt, God love her. You can trace the tracks of my tears. You can trace the tracks of my childhood through these albums in the order they're out, except for the one that you and I share that we talked about, because I didn't hear that album all the way through until really recently. Anyway. The next one is one that if you've ever heard me talk about music ever and you don't expect this album to be on here, you need to seriously pause the fucking show and do your homework, bro. Hotel California, the Eagles. I say the Eagles because it's not the, it should be just Eagles. And that's the truth. But yeah, the title track, Hotel California, is just one of those songs that if you grew up in Southern California or you grew up a fan of that style of rock and roll and you don't like Hotel California, I'm not really sure we can be peoples.
This is fair.
Yeah, it's just that classic of a track, and it was really the first. They had a couple hits before that and a couple other albums, but Hotel California brought those gentlemen to the dance. It made them a bona fide superstar act. Yeah, exactly. It shot them, as Trevor Lee would say, because he's no longer Cameron Grimes, to the moon. And again, you know, there's, I don't know, you have to forgive me. The computer is not here; it's still being worked on at home. But you know, I'm pretty sure Witchy Woman's on this album. I looked at the album list before I came on, but the brain just is what it is. But Hotel California is, if there's a skip on there for me, it's probably toward the end of side 2, if I'm being honest, because it's just that many good, I'll even say great Eagles songs that and you know, like I said, I can listen to the Eagles all day long, twice on Sunday. So it's hard for me to find a skip in there. It really is.
Yeah,
so
I mean, it's not on my list, obviously. So,
sure.
But just coming out the gate, you know, Hotel California, New Kid in Town, Life in the Fast Lane.
Yeah,
it's a
those 3 songs
hitter right there.
Yeah, those 3 songs
were one more song on side A,
right?
Where you have to flip the record over. So like 3 out of 4 right there, you're already coming out swinging.
Yeah, it's funny. I mentioned to you off air that the first Eagles album I listened to was the Greatest Hit, 71-75, with the Eagle skull on it. Those 3 tracks aren't even on that Greatest Hits. They're on the Greatest Hits Volume 2. Anybody remembers the Greatest Hits Volume 2 that Eagles had? It was that like black covered album with like I don't know if it was a record or what it was. It was just weird, like circular design. But on the cassette, it looked really bizarre. Like when the CD came out, I was like, okay, this makes more sense. But when it was on the little cassette cover, like this big, it's like, oh, what is this thing? That's where I heard those songs for the first time, was on that cassette. Mm-hmm. But then you listen to the whole album and it's like, okay, yeah, this is why this album put them where they did, because it's a great album. On that
first Greatest Hits, because I think this album came out in 76.
Yeah, exactly.
So in 75, it wouldn't be on there.
Yeah, and the Volume 2 Greatest Hits, I want to say it was right before or right after they broke up, because it was after the label probably went, oh shit, we're out of stuff. What do we do here? Oh, Greatest Hits. So 1980 would make sense for that. I had to look that up down the line. Next one, chronologically, was in 1977. It's funny, I'm talking about these guys today because we were talking with my dad's best friend yesterday, my Uncle Marty. And if there was ever a woman that would get him to settle his shit down and just be calm the rest of his days, God bless Marty, it would be Stevie Nicks. And a lot of it's because of Fleetwood Mac, and a lot of it's because of this album. There are so many quintessential Fleetwood Mac tracks just on this album alone that I very rarely heard some of the non-singles off this album, let alone some of the rest of their hits, because Rumors just changed the game for them. It really did. It really, much like Hotel California, Rumors was one of those like, wow, there's a lot of good shit on here. This is why Fleetwood Mac was, so damn, getting me the heartstrings. Jesus. Maybe I'll cry on Thursday, motherfucker, I guess. Anyway, I hope at least your wife's above us as far as favorite people, because damn. Wow. Caught me off guard. I gotta get my shit back together. It was the rare time we went over to Marty's house where this album, or one of Stevie's solo albums, because God, his pool room was either that poster or the other Fleetwood Mac posters, or the Stevie individual posters. Like you couldn't play a round of billiards without seeing Stevie Nicks' face, and not that's a bad thing, mind you. Stevie was a lovely woman in her time, and still is pretty damn good looking for my money. The next one, I think I didn't realize how many tracks I loved on this album until we were doing this listing, because you hear the different songs off this album as singles through the years, and you see the videos that just hit home for you. But there is a reason that they say that Thriller changed not just Michael's game, but the industry. And Thriller is just that album. I mean, you've got obviously the title track and the video that goes along with it, which is a whole freaking mini movie in of itself. And if you've not seen Thriller, and you know who you are out there in the freaking kiddie pool of our audience, when we're done today, I know Thriller's on YouTube somewhere. The whole thing, all 15 minutes of it. Get your shit in today, folks. Learn something, because that shit was amazing. And Billie Jean's on Thriller, right?
Yeah.
Billie Jean is just an amazing track in of itself. I always get the visual of him at the MTV on MTV in 84, 85, whatever it was that year, when he first debuted the Moonwalk in that same set. That was
the Motown anniversary.
Motown anniversary. Thank you. Gino's who I'm talking to. Anyway, I'd be very surprised if Josh hasn't at least seen bits and pieces of Thriller, but the whole thing, probably not. But anyway, yeah, just image of. Go ahead. Yeah, the image of Michael at Motown anniversary, the video for Thriller, just everything on this album is really. I don't know if it's Michael's coming out party, because I think the one before that was kind of like his really first album that had a lot of banger singles. But Thriller, if Thriller wasn't his coming out party, Thriller was his, all right, last party was decent. Now we're gonna tear shit up at this one.
Yeah, a lot of people go back and forth between Off the Wall,
right,
Thriller, and Off the Wall is good.
Yes,
but it was very much a record of the times, very disco heavy.
Yes,
and yes. I can only listen to a couple songs on it because of the disco. I just can't do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Thriller, I'm not going to lie. I seriously debated about Thriller and Bad.
I debated Bad too. Yeah.
But I felt like people would expect that.
Okay.
So that's kind of part of why I left it off.
Okay. Well, there you go.
It's like, I felt like if I used Thriller, it would almost be like a cop-out choice.
Well, in your case, it would.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
yeah. In your case, it absolutely would be, because you've got such a wider range than I do. So, the next one is from 1988. It's one I was talking about. That I didn't hear the entire album the whole way through until at least, 2015. God, they've been together 9 years. Holy shit. 2015, when an all-female tribute to this band decided that this album was going to be their set list, give or take a song here and there on a random show. But Appetite for Destruction, and this is the non-band cover. I just found that out today, boys and girls. Guns N' Roses. I will say, having finally heard them do it live in person at the Hollywood Bowl, where you should hear Guns N' Roses. If you're not at the Viper Room, you should hear them at the Hollywood Bowl. It's one of those two places at this point for those guys, especially if you're a Cali boy, a live Cali SoCal person.
Or the whiskey.
What's that?
Or the whiskey.
Fuck the whiskey. Anyway, I hate that place.
Only because that was where they played some of their earlier.
You know what? I'm sorry. I meant to say whiskey because it's where they originated. But that whole corner of Sunset's just the devil anyway. It's awful. Great pasta and sandwich place though, right by the whiskey though. I will say that. Anyway, I'll get the name later. I'll give them a plug because it's that good of food, and I want people to go try it if they're ever in town. But yeah, Appetite, again, it's, the guns were already around, the guns were doing their thing, and then this album came, and it's like, oh, okay, so these guys are serious. And this is the first album on here, period, where I don't have a single skip. And I blame that fully on Jenna and Rachel and the rest of the band. Because having heard this set time, Seamus does the banger after banger. I've been hearing this rotation for 9 years. So I love these songs, every single one of them. And, I talked off air about it. There are some songs that I actually prefer the kiddies singing it. Rocket Queen just makes more sense coming out of a female voice.
That's fair.
And so anything goes. It really depends where Jenna and the girls put it in the set. I can take or leave. That's probably the one. It's like, okay, maybe not tonight. I can go get some work done for the merch stuff while they're singing this song. But on the whole, Appetite for Destruction definitely satiates the appetite for kick-ass rock and roll from the 80s. No doubt about it for me. And it's only here because it's chronologically where it's supposed to be. If it was, when I first heard them, it'd be. The next one is the one that surprised me the most. I'm not going to lie, because it took this far into his releases to get my all-time favorite male country artist on the list. Garth Brooks with Fresh Horses.
Okay.
I love Garth. You and I both know that. I still lament the fact that you saw him, 3 times in 2 weeks or 2 times in 3 weeks?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that, you asshole. But
not a single ticket did I pay for.
That's the shit that pisses me off. Anyway. But I love all of his songs, at least the ones released as singles. There are a lot of albums that all go, I don't remember this one. Fresh, this one's different. My favorite track on this features Cheyenne. I just adore that song. Like that. That's such a beautiful song, and it's in its tragic tale. But the harmonies and the music, and it's just freaking powerful. And that one anchors the album for me. Like I love the entire album, but Beaches of Cheyenne is definitely the one that's the reason I'm putting the CD in today. It's because of that song. And I adore it. I do. So,
yeah,
but yeah,
I still feel that Beaches of Cheyenne and George Strait's I Can Reach Cheyenne are the same story.
Oh, I believe it. 100% believe it. And I think this one hangs close to me because it came out in 1997 and it was on this tour that I got to see him at the Forum. So it's probably a muscle memory thing as well as anything else. Speaking of muscle memories, this next one, I don't know if you're going to shit me on this for the qualifications or not, but I'm going to try it. WWF the Music.
Oh my God.
Volume 3, baby.
I'm laughing so hard because I seriously considered this myself.
Nice, dude. That would have been your jam, man.
Jim Johnston.
Yep, that would have been your jam too.
Johnston.
They're all by Jim Johnston. It's when you first came into your fandom that album was just starting to cook. It became platinum, for Christ's sakes. Mick Foley has a platinum album that's in his office for no goddamn good reason. Because of the Dude Love track.
I thought about that in Volume 4.
I actually thought about the wrestling.
Volume 4 had the Triple H one.
Oh God, yeah. Seriously.
It also had, D-Lo, some serious banners on Volume 4. But yeah, I legitimately hemmed and hawed, but I was like, Jeff's gonna give me shit about this, so I'm not gonna do it. And then Jeff has it on his list, so fuck you, Jeff.
Well, did I not start by saying I was afraid you were going to give me shit? So there you go.
No shit here because I almost had it myself.
Big Chief talking about listening to Ass Man in Germany. That's just that's a comment worthy of discussion for itself. I'm just throwing that shit out there.
Well, that was volume 4, but still,
right,
yeah.
but still. But yeah, I mean, God, volume 3, Austin DX, the original DX theme release on an album. Gangrel, the Brute. God damn, dude. I can still imagine myself now sitting there when they're coming out doing the freaking ridiculous bit back and forth.
Shamrock.
Fucking Shamrock's on there. I think Sable's song is on there too, if I remember right.
Too.
X-Pac's song is on there. Like the alternate that he used besides using the DX theme. Yeah, this album went platinum for reasons. Because it was just so good. And when the WWF was at its hottest, man, you couldn't touch them with a 50-foot flamethrower. They were already that hot, man. Oh my God. So yeah, I had to get a little wrestling in today. But it was funny. I went back. I was like, do I do the wrestling album? No, because different artists contributed to that, so that wouldn't count. The same with Pile Driver, because different people wrote some of the songs. Full Metal, I don't think Full Metal was entirely a Jim Johnston. Same with Volume 2. I think there were a couple of contributors to each one of those. So I was like, all right, Volume 3 I know is pure Jim Johnston. So, boom, there you go.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Yeah, Wrestling album definitely, because Derringer wrote Derringer's Real American track is on there. Wasn't for Hogan at the time, but you know. All right, the next one is, if I'm remembering correctly, yes, the first female solo artist I've got on my list, and it's the second to last one on my list. So, not very reflective on my views, but you know, it is what it is. But how can I not have Shania Twain's basically coming out party on my list? And again, the tour I saw her on in 2000, no, maybe 2001. I don't know, somewhere in there.
It would have had to have been before that, because 2001 was the Up album.
Oh, that's, you know what?
I did with like 97.
You know, I'm sorry. I saw her on the Up tour. I'm sorry, on the Up tour. I apologize for that. And thank you for clarifying that for me. Yeah, I saw her on the Up tour at the Hollywood Bowl, but it was that Come On Over album that really made me a Shania Twain fan. So yeah, it's again, Shania Twain was able to change the perception of female country artists before a little girl born in 1989 started doing the same exact thing, just with banger business now. You know, all respect to Taylor. Love us some Taylor Swift here. Well, some of us do. But Shania Twain was doing that first, as far as the complete 100% crossover to pop. You know, there were a few females along the way that definitely, you know, dabbled their toes in the water when it came to pop-y tracks. But Shania had a genre created around her, basically. Pop country. Twin. Here we go. And the last one from 2004, and this is even more personal bias than the damn WWF album, because I sold a bunch of these my damn self. The Attraction, from the first band I saw Jenna with long term, RUE, R-U-E, the logo there in the middle. 8 tracks. Not a, for lack of a better term, commercial release you would find in the stores or, you know, whatever. But you could order it through their website and you can get it at their shows, because there were more than 8 songs in their rotation by the time they really picked up steam. But again, tracks I heard every week of the year for almost 3 years, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. You just get to love this shit, whether you want to or not. But again, I'm gonna gush over my friend here, but I have been in awe of Jenna's talents since we were grade schoolers, and I knew that she would be successful and something special in the industry, and I'm eternally proud of her. And it was that band and that album that really showed me that she had a broad appeal, because a lot of people were comparing Rue to the Evanescence vibe, which had really picked up steam the year before with Wake Me Up Inside and their album. So, I mean, you had a very, very attractive dark-haired woman backed up by a band of all guys. There's Evanescence and there's Rue. And they just, it's a classic Hollywood story. People's brains argue with their success and their hearts. It is what it is, man. It's Hollywood. It's rock and roll, baby. But that album, I still have it somewhere. It's either here or at home. I still have the original copy they gave me in the case. I think it's been unopened for, let's see, 2004, probably the second half of the last 20 years. So roughly 10 years. I haven't touched it because it's that special to me. They all signed it, the liner notes for me. I'm actually mentioned in the liner notes of this album. So I thought that was pretty right. Yeah. They made sure to thank me, because I was there every step of the way when they were conceptualizing that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. It's a really cool thing when you get appreciation for not doing a hell of a whole lot at the end of the day. Because I just sold their merch, took their manager's money, and had a fuck ton of Catman coats over 3 years. But they're my friends, especially Jenna. And I would
say, but you have to believe in the product to be able to work the merch stand like that. You've got to be passionate. So that's where the thanks comes from.
Yeah, and there will never be any doubt of my passion and my belief in that woman, ever. She is one of my people. She's what our mutual friend Catherine dubbed family. She's forever that person, and I'd be remiss if I didn't include that album on my all-time favorite album list.
There you go.
They were my 10.
All right. Go ahead and click over to the comments.
Yes. I don't know if you have a commercial queued up, so I was waiting to see it. Okay. Cool.
Let's just
get our shit in here.
Yeah, just keep on pushing.
That's it.
All right. So for my side of things, I've got a few honorable mentions kind of sprinkled in through my list.
Sure.
As we were talking about before we came on the air, some of these, I don't know if they hold up today.
Right.
Like if I were to put the album on today, would I still be able to listen through it with no skips, or have my tastes changed enough to where there would be more than one skip?
Right.
So with my list, I'm basically going off of the time when I discovered it.
That's probably the best, yeah.
And when I first got into the artist or the album or whatever, like these albums were one skip, if any.
Sure.
So I just want to make sure I throw that out there, because I don't want to chase some of our almost 100 viewers away with some of the selections on my list.
Right.
Much like you, very diverse, quite a few different genres covered. One similarity.
Yes.
We do have a similar artist that we shared. It's a different album.
Oh, okay.
But I just want to make sure, and I did rank mine, didn't just go by release date and take the cop out like you did.
Yeah.
It is what it is, though.
I'll own it. Yeah, I own it. And again, like I said, mine was so diverse, and I struggled to get to 10 as it was. So I was like, you know what? We need to get the show on the air today. So I need to just get my shit in and get going here.
Coming in at number 10 for me to kick the list off, Hard and Heavy, the one that we share.
Nice.
Appetite for Destruction.
And again, this is the non-banned version.
Yeah. I almost used the other image just because.
Right.
Because if I'm being honest, I figured you'd have it because of your kitty connection.
Yeah.
So I almost went with the other graphic just so that we would have at least it looking different.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of what you said holds true for me. Tracks like Rocket Queen, Anything Goes, even Mr. Brownstone. Today, would I sit there and just let him play? Maybe, maybe not, just because it would be the first time I'd heard the album start to finish in a long time. Maybe I'd let him go.
Yeah.
But after that initial listen to him, probably not, if we're being fair.
Yeah.
But 1988, 1989, when I'm first discovering this album, and I'm taking it all in, and I'm trying to figure out why my dad has got such an issue with Guns N' Roses, thinking that they're the devil music because of the image that was released for their album cover, a cross with a bunch of skulls.
Yeah,
and not hearing it.
Right.
And then finally getting him to listen to Sweet Child of Mine.
Oh, right.
And realize that they're not as bad as the media and the church made them out to be.
No kidding. That song is just, there's a reason I chose it as my power ballad the other night on karaoke.
Yeah.
It just hits you right in the damn feels. No matter who sings it, be it Axl, be it Jenna, be it Ariel. Hell, God, I cry. I'm gonna be crying. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna be crying like a mugger in front of my father and son on Saturday because Ariel sings that song. It's gonna be a thing. I will say, Brownstone, I'm not a fan of it on the track.
Yeah.
Never really been into Brownstone. It's not my thing.
A lot of people make it out like it's the greatest song, and it's like it's not all that.
No, it's definitely one of the skippable ones. Yeah.
Again, 88, 89, 90, when I'm first listening to it, when I'm first getting into that genre of music,
right,
gobbled it all up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, see, everybody's got their I connect Sweet Child with story. G gets the haha, so good on you, G. Mine just, tears my heart apart because I think about Jenna singing to her mom every time she sings a song. So, I just get destroyed emotionally. So fuck it, right?
Coming in at number 9 for me is The Artist We Share.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, not counting greatest hits albums, it's the album that came out before the one you had.
Oh.
In Pieces.
I almost went with In Pieces. I really did.
Standing outside the fire, Ain't Going Down Till the Sun Comes Up, American Honky Tonk Bar Association, Calling Baton Rouge, The Red Strokes, Kicking and Screaming, The Night Called the Old Man Out.
Yep.
Banger after banger after banger.
See, it was those last 3 songs that took it out of my qualifications list because those were all skips for me. Like I like those songs, but they're not a gotta like the other ones. So that's what killed it for me, was those last 3 songs you mentioned.
That's fair. The Red Strokes is one that always sat with me.
Right.
Because the video.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry.
Just, it's Garth. It's Garth.
No, it is.
Garth.
No, it is. And he was so untouchable.
The fact that they went straight from that to greatest hits just kind of said everything.
Yeah. I mean, he had what? Maybe 3 or 4 albums out at that point?
That was his 5th.
Right.
He had his debut one, Garth Brooks, then he had No Fences, Rope in the Wind, The Chase, In Pieces. That doesn't even count beyond the season, the Christmas one that came out in that run too.
Yeah.
So he had 6 studio albums. Each album that garnered him between like 3 and 5 singles.
Yeah. So he's 5 albums and 6 studio albums in 5 years, and he's already hitting the greatest hits. Garth Brooks, ladies and gentlemen.
Right?
Take your time machine and go back and just watch the phenomena that brought country music back to pop culture. Garth Brooks. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all didn't live it, you don't understand. Like this guy, like to this day, Dylan's mother has the VHS. Ain't nobody got an VCR no more. The VHS of his concert in Central Park. And you watch that concert, you believe, damn it. Because there are people everywhere. The crowd goes on how far?
Forever.
It does. I mean, you cannot walk in Central Park.
Woodstock.
It does. It looks like freaking Woodstock, and it's one guy.
Yeah. If you go back and you watch the movie of Woodstock and you look at the massive crowd for the 3-day festival that was.
Yes.
Garth in Central Park looks almost identical, and it's one dude for 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Other than Billy Joel coming on for one of his songs and one of Garth's songs, it's just Garth, folks. Like, Jesus. It's ridiculous.
For 2 of Billy's songs.
That's valid. That's valid. That's fair. That's fair.
Because they do Shameless together, and then they do You May Be Right.
I forgot the
it just is because Shameless is more associated as a Garth song because he made it a single.
Right.
People forget that Shameless was on the same album as We Didn't Start the Fire.
Right. But yeah, he was.
That's how Garth discovered it. He was on tour for his first album, got the copy of Stormfront from the Columbia Music House.
Oh my God.
He wasn't able to send the thing back saying, no, I don't want my featured selection. Had grown up listening to Billy Joel. So he was like, let's see what Billy's up to. Heard Shameless, called the producers and the publishers and was like, hey, is there a way I can do this song?
That's tremendous.
That's how Shameless fell in Garth's lap, literally.
God damn, that is I never heard that story. That's tremendous. God. But yeah, if y'all grew up in the 60s, you had Beatlemania. That was the music phenomenon. And the 90s was Garth, exactly.
Until Shania came around.
Well, she cute and shit. So what are you gonna do?
I was surprised how 100 viewers, sir.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
I love that shit. Up. Yeah, I was surprised when I met Shania how short she is. Because when you see the video of her, man, I feel like a woman. She looks like she's freaking 10 feet tall with them big ass heels on.
I was gonna say heels and camera angles are a beautiful thing.
But no, she like this big. She got a belts of voice like a goddamn Amazon though. Tell you what,
my number 8 artist didn't wear heels, but was famously dissed by an old collaborator of his, saying that on his old album covers he was a she thing.
Ooh.
Coming in at number 8 is Dr. Dre with The Chronic.
Oh, jeez. Damn. That was a hell of a transition, but I'll take it.
And I'm just saying, like, so we've already had heavy metal / hair metal. We've had country, and now we've got arguably the godfather of gangster rap.
Kidding, right? Damn.
But The Chronic is just, again, hit after hit after hit. Even the deep cuts, Lil Ghetto Boy, Stranded on Death Row. Such good stuff. Definitely the first hip hop album for me that was a no skipper.
Right.
And you think about how Dr. Dre owned the business during that time with his production skills, which depending on who you listen to, Dre didn't produce as much as he got credit for.
Right.
But that's neither here nor there.
No.
And I had to make sure I dug, because if you look for the back cover on image search, you find a lot that say executive produced by Suge Knight.
Oh no.
I was trying to find the one that said produced by Dr. Dre, which is what I found.
Right. Nicely done.
But you got to dig, because ever since Dre left Death Row in 95, Suge has done his best to erase Dre from the history. There would be no Death Row without Dre.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
As a matter of fact, Don't lynch me, viewers at home, for this comparison, but you can almost draw a Jesus Christ comparison. There's before Dre, there's after Dre.
Oh, no, very much so.
There's BC and there's AD.
Yep. When
it comes to Death Row.
No, you're 100% right.
Era, and there's the post-Dre era. And it is not a shock that all the hits came during the Dre era. And
no.
There's very few, if any, that came in the post-Dre era.
Yeah, those eras are not the same at all.
The Machiavelli album being probably the only highlight in the post-Dre era.
I can see that.
Snoop's Dogfather album tanked.
No, it totally did.
Soundtracks tanked.
Yes.
Lady of Rage's album tanked.
Yep.
Part of that was due to them not capitalizing on it when Afro Puffs was hot, but that's a whole other situation.
Yeah, a whole other show. Yeah.
But then you go to the Dre era and you've got The Chronic, you've got Doggy Style, you've got Dog Food, you've got the Murder Was the Case soundtrack, Above the Rim soundtrack, you've got Tupac, All Eyes on Me. It's banner after banner after banner.
Yes.
And the post-Dre era, you're like, where's the hit in all this? I know there's one. Let me find one.
It's a really bad joke that I'm not going to throw out there. What you just said. Just going to let it be. I'll tell you.
We'll get to the Beatles later, but not let it be.
I'll tell you off air. It will get us lynched if I say it on air. Anyway, carry on.
Well, here comes the point where I lose fans. Where the 109 people we've got watching will probably get whittled down to about 55.
Hi, everybody.
But I know you can attest to how much I listened to this album by this individual when you were living with me.
Okay. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I'm just going to leave that there for a minute.
Yep.
But there is not a bad track on that album.
No, there's not. There really is not. Nope.
You can say what you want to say about Selena Gomez as an artist, but you pop that track, that CD in, and you let it run. And especially if you've got young kids, there is not not a miss on that album.
Nope.
There really isn't.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can hate me if you want to hate me. You can scoff at my taste if you want to scoff it.
Damn it.
But you can put that album up there with anything by NSYNC, Backstreet, Britney, Christina.
Yep.
And dare I say it's better because there's no skips. All those artists have skips on those albums.
The best part about him listening to that album was the kids were young enough where they weren't embarrassed by it in the car. So he and I would cruise in the car with both the kids in the backseat because we were running errand number whatever that day and just blast that shit and watch the people in the cars by us going, what the fuck?
It's one of those things. It's a guilty pleasure.
Absolutely.
And I remember when I was working the Grand Prix for Staff Pro. You've been to the Grand Prix. You know how long those days are.
Oh, yes.
You know how chaotic those days are.
Oh, yes.
You know how hot the weather is those days. That was the CD I would listen to driving to work and home from work.
Had to.
Because it would get me in the mind space that I needed to be in to deal with the insanity.
Yeah. If y'all have ever been to a race that is literally in the streets, like they set up they carve out an entire section of the city to lay this track down for IndyCar racing and other shit they do in the weekend besides IndyCars, but it's another one of those phenomena. You have to see to freaking believe in person. And it is a cluster fuck of organization.
Yeah.
So having to get into the mindset of being security at something like this, yeah, Selena Gomez is your way to go. For show. And detoxing on the way home too. Because it wasn't that long of a drive home, but it was long enough.
Yeah. And I still enjoy her.
Absolutely.
I've watched every season of Only Murders in the Building on Hulu.
I still haven't watched that yet. Good on you, man. Hell of a cast on that show.
Martin Short and Selena Gomez are your stars. Which right there, that one of these things just doesn't belong here.
Literally get out of my head, because it's like, dude, 20 years you're going like, who? What's Steve Martin in?
Season 3, the most recent season, had Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Meryl Streep. They have some A-list talent for this show. Nathan Lane is a recurring character.
Yes. See, the thing is,
highly recommend it. Highly recommend it, especially if you are a comedy dork like we are. I mean, just Steve Martin and Martin Short's enough, and their chemistry is so great to give it at least. Give it at least, the first season watch, because it's only like 8 or 10 episodes per season.
Right.
And if you're not hooked by the middle of the season, then that's on you.
Right. Right.
Their chemistry is so good, going back to like the Three Amigos and the shit they did on SNL. It's worth watching it just for that.
Oh,
and then you add her to the mix.
Yes.
And here's these two guys that are old enough to be her grandfather.
Shit, right.
And they're all best buds in the show.
Right.
Great shit. Yeah, and she's just as snarky and sarcastic as she is as Alex Russo on Wizards of Waverly Place.
You got me sold. I'm here for it.
Like that character just grew up.
Right. I will say, if Paul Rudd's on the show and he's one of the victims, it kind of is non-canonical, because Paul Rudd's immortal at this point, I think. Like, he hasn't aged. Right. So he's got some sort of tiger blood shit going on or something. He's a vampire.
All right. We're going to segue, and the segue totally makes sense when you think about it.
Okay.
But number 6 is basically the person that took that spot for me.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Kelsea Ballerini's debut album, The First Time.
Damn good album.
Again, 0 skips. Don't have to just listen to the hits on it, because there's only 4 singles out of the 12 songs.
Yep.
So the other 8 are just album cuts.
They're damn good.
And none of the other 8 are skips.
Nope.
That tells you something.
Yeah.
I remember discovering her, I want to say it was a CMA or an ACM award show. And she was performing Peter Pan. And she had like some ballet dancers on the stage performing a dance routine as she sang it.
Right.
And that was the first I had ever heard her.
Yeah.
And then I went and got the CD, and the first track came on, XO. Right. And you're looking at the track and you're like, okay, kisses and hugs.
And no.
And then she starts singing, and it's like, you're still in love with your ex. Oh. And it's like, oh, okay, this is going to be some different type of shit that I was expecting.
There's some deep shit going on here, yeah.
And just every track that came after that, just not a skipper on it.
Yeah.
And we're at the part where there is not a skip on any of these albums. The ones where there were a skip or two were like 10, 9, 8.
Right.
Everything from Selena on.
Yeah.
There's 0 skips. Even the honorable mentions that I'm going to get into.
And like, I talked about Appetite, we share the same skips even. Like, that's how I think we were on Appetite, because it's,
But I highly recommend, if you're a fan of Taylor and you have not listened to Kelsea, go buy this album.
Yeah. Those first two tracks alone are worth your money. XO's like I said, it hits different. Peter Pan, when I first saw the track, and again, I hadn't heard it yet, but it's like, oh, probably. But no, it's about Peter Pan syndrome. You know what Peter Pan syndrome is? Russo it. Do your homework, bro.
Yeah. a boy that didn't want to grow up.
Yep, exactly.
Love Me Like You Mean It, hit. Square
Yep.
Pegs,
Yep.
awesome. The first
Yes.
time, awesome. Looking at Stars, awesome. Secondhand Smoke just nailed me in the feels.
Right? No shit.
Because it ain't got nothing to do with smoking, y'all.
No.
It's about being the innocent victim standing by in a divorce.
Which is
not basically wanting to get caught up in the bullshit, the secondhand smoke that's going on.
It is bullshit.
So if you've ever been through a divorce, whether you've watched your parents get divorced or whether you yourself have been in one, do not go into that song without a box of Kleenex handy.
Yeah, seriously. Understand, it's just a song, y'all. You'll be okay after 3.5 minutes. It'll be okay.
Right?
But it's too damn good to not listen to.
For real. Now we're going to transition to my first honorable mention.
Oh, okay.
And it's literally only an honorable mention because I already had my 10.
Right.
And when you really come down to it, there's only one song from the album that was a single. Every other track of this album is basically like an album cut.
Okay.
But it is music inspired by Dick Tracy.
Nice.
Madonna's I'm Breathless.
God, I have not seen these images or thought about this character in decades. Holy crap.
This album is so good because it was such a step away from Madonna's sound at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That a lot of people completely forget about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Her voice and her sass, especially as Breathless Mahoney.
Oh, God, right?
Fit that Prohibition era so well that you could have imagined listening to this album with like Frank Sinatra sprinkled in.
Yep.
You know, or any of the other artists from that day, Dean Martin, Ella Fitzgerald, you know, just play it on a jazz station with those other artists and it would not sound out of place, even though it was released some 30, 40, 50 years after that style of music was really popular.
It is a great, almost unintentional period piece.
Mm-hmm.
It's and this is just the album, y'all, not even the movie.
Yeah, and there's a few songs on the album that were featured in the movie. You know, Sooner or Later, more show stealing scenes in the movie.
Yes,
but I only bought this CD maybe a couple years ago.
Right?
Because I had watched Dick Tracy to review it, realized how amazing the songs were and how perfectly suited for her voice they were.
Yep.
So I went and I bought the CD.
Oh yeah, dude.
$2 on eBay. You know, I don't think I spent more than $5.
Nice. And
just popped it into the car, just let it run, and every track just hits. And I'm not a big jazz guy. Jazz puts me to sleep.
Yes.
But there was something about the instrumentation, about the arrangements, and about Madonna's voice.
Yeah.
It kept me going through those 10, 12, whatever it is, tracks on that album.
Yeah.
So I wanted to throw that in there as an honorable mention while I'm in here with the other women in my countdown.
No, that's awesome. And I look back now, I haven't watched the movie in years, but I know it was definitely, as much as the marketing was toward kids. You watch that movie, it is not a children's Disney movie. Oh, no.
No.
There's a reason Dick Tracy never appears as a character in the park for more than a few moments. Like, it is a very touchstone movie, more than a Disney movie. But I got to watch it. Huh?
No doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. And I got to watch it as a kid still. Because my dad's religion was, well, shit, we let him watch Roger Rabbit. Why not this one? So it was great. Man, I'd forgotten all about that whole thing. That's awesome. I'm going to have to. It's not on Disney Plus for whatever friggin' reason. So I'll have to go try to find it.
All right.
I think it's the Warren Beatty versus the Dick Tracy people thing, and that's why. So anyway.
Because I know he still owns the rights to it. He legitimately owns the rights to the character.
He does, which is great on him.
I think you're right. I think that's part of it. Hopefully, heaven forbid anything happens to Dick Van Dyke, 98 years old. Hopefully they'll let it get thrown on there because of him being the commissioner or whatever it is in the movie.
Yeah. God bless Dick, though. He's still going, man. Good on him.
All right.
All right.
We've had enough, mushy stuff. We're going to get back into some gangsta shit.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Number 5, the West Side Connection album, Bow Down.
God damn.
Any of these three as a solo artist
was
enough to really make you sit back and take notice.
Yes.
WC, Mac 10, and Ice Cube. But when they came together to form a group like Voltron, watch out.
Right. Wonder Twins unite and shit.
Every song on this album is just a banner. And they were so angry.
Right.
90% of it is material dissing Be Real and Cypress Hill.
Yeah, very much. And
the stuff that isn't is basically saying fuck New York. So, just a little bit of anger and animosity in these guys as they kick their verses, but every track is
hits,
fire. And I can't say that about their solo albums. There is not a solo album of those three that I can listen to start to finish and not skip a track.
That's true.
But put them together and every track just hits.
Yeah.
Something about it.
Yeah. This is one of those albums that definitely earned the explicit parental advisory sticker on it.
Oh, yeah. And there's only 2 singles on the album.
Yeah.
Track 2 and track 3, Bow Down and Gangsters Make the World Go Round.
And how they made it to radio just is amazing to me.
How they made it to radio is Ice Cube's business acumen.
There you go. That's it. That's it.
And being around enough to know how to write your lyrics so that when you have to go back for the radio edit, you can change a word here and there without conflicting with the message you're trying to get across in the song.
Yes. So I bet you when both those singles got released on radio and he was driving around, he's like, you know what? It's a good day. I'm guessing.
I mean, Bow Down was so ingrained in me that when I was pledging the fraternity back in college, I had the all ego, if you will, to tell the alumni and members to bow down to the pledge that's greater than you.
And you're still here sitting here talking about it. So good on you for surviving.
And I made it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Ethan Page ain't the only man with all ego. Or at least at that time. Now I'm a little bit more humble, but back then I was a cocky little shit.
And at the end of the day, he freaking lost on Sunday. So, anyway.
Now, taking another step, going to the other extreme.
Oh, no.
And this shouldn't surprise you that it's on my list because it was one of the examples I always gave when we talked about soundtracks.
You're right. Okay. Yeah.
A Pure Country.
Damn it. What a great movie and a great soundtrack. Oh, Lord.
It is. There's a reason why I made sure to throw that in there as a stipulation because it's George Strait starring in a movie and every song on that soundtrack is his song.
Yes.
And there isn't a skipper.
Nope.
There just isn't.
No, there's not. Absolutely.
It's legitimately, and I'll talk about this a couple times here in the next few albums, but it's literally the epitome of a greatest hits album that's not a greatest hits album.
Right? Exactly. No.
And I was so pissed at him when I went to go see him with Martina at Staples Center. Didn't do a single song from that album.
Oh, that's right. You told me that. That's right.
He didn't even do I Cross My Heart, which arguably was one of his biggest songs in the 90s.
It was, for real.
Still used at weddings to this day.
Absolutely.
Didn't even do that one. Every other era of his career he covered. He didn't do a single song from that album, and I was pissed.
Damn. I have
Not
told...
to say the show was bad, because it's fucking
Strait.
George Strait.
Yeah.
Even like Garth Brooks clowns him, him just standing there like this.
Yeah.
Concert's still fucking fire.
Well, here's the difference, though.
He didn't do any of the tracks from arguably my favorite album of his.
Well, here's the difference, though. George Strait can do that because he's the king of country. How Chris Stapleton does that shit and wins the Entertainer of the Year 3 times or whatever it was, it's like, what the fuck? What are we doing here? Oh, my dad still gets chats about that shit to this day. Freaking Luke Bryan's bouncing around the stage like a goddamn ping pong ball. Garth's doing the same shit at his age, which is ridiculous. Chris Stapleton's... That's not that. He's a great singer.
Started about Stapleton because
I know. Just saying.
I just feel like there are other artists that created the mold from which he came from.
Yeah.
That don't get radio play.
Oh, chaps my ass.
That pisses me off.
If you're going to give that gimmick Entertainer of the Year, just call it the George Strait Award. Like, seriously. But I will say this. Yeah. Cross My Heart, From This Moment On with Shania and, oh God, Brian. What's Brian's last name?
White.
Brian White, thank you. And the song they used in the video package for Randy Savage and Elizabeth together. Mm-hmm. I have told every potential partner I've ever had, if those 3 songs are not on our wedding dance list, we're going to court the next day and saying, fuck it. Because those 3 songs are just...
Yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
Brings me to another honorable mention.
Okay.
And much in the vein of soundtracks.
Okay.
But these are cover albums. It's still all one artist, but they're not the original artist. Hence why it's an honorable mention.
Okay.
But the From the Screen to Your Stereo series from Newfound Glory.
All right, I'll give you that one. Yeah.
You just look at the track lists here. The first album has got The Never Ending Story. It's got I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. It's got My Heart Will Go On from the Titanic, which it took these fuckers to make that song tolerable to my eardrums. It's got The Goonies Are Good Enough. Then you go over to disc 2 and you've got Kiss Me, It Ain't Me, Babe, The King of Wishful Thinking from Pretty Woman.
Nice.
You've got Stay I Missed You, which he actually duets with Lisa Loeb.
Nice.
She actually comes on. It starts off in their whole punk rock vibe and everything, and then it gets to the next part and she comes in and joins him.
Shit.
Fucking awesome.
That's tremendous.
It's worth the listen just for that. You got Don't You Forget About Me, Iris, Crazy for You, Hungry Eyes. Then you go to the third one, which isn't as good as the other 2, but you've still got The Power of Love. You've got Let It Go. You've got Accidentally in Love from Shrek. You've got Eye of the Tiger, 1,000 Years. Banger after banger after banger. Again, why it's honorable mention, because it's covers, but all done by the same artist for all 3 albums. 2 EPs and a full album, if we're being fair.
Yeah,
Again, why they're honorable mentions, because 2 of them are EPs.
Yes.
But I felt with touching on the Pure Country soundtrack, with having done the Madonna thing,
right,
I had to give these guys their shine, because they're the only albums by them that I can listen to.
Yes. Yeah, I will say
their music is very hit or miss otherwise. They've got
that's true.
a couple of big singles that I like, My Friends Over You, All Downhill From Here, Head On Collision.
Yeah.
Everything else in their discography I can really kind of leave.
No, I feel you.
These albums, though.
Yes.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Like I said, the fact that they made My Heart Will Go On tolerable for me.
I was going to say,
literally now listen to the Celine version and not feel like my eardrums are bleeding. Which, okay. Side note.
Okay.
I know you were going to just say something about that, but side note.
Yeah.
I just discovered the other day, while scrolling through, I think it was Instagram Reels, the version we hear of that song in that movie was a demo recorded by Celine in one take.
Yeah.
Because she didn't want to do the fucking song.
No, she didn't.
We laid down the vocals as a demo so that whoever was going to do it could know how to do the song. And she nailed it in one freaking take.
One friggin' take. Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm not Celine's biggest fan.
No.
But one take,
yeah,
I'd stand up if I wanted to put my belly in the camera.
Something that powerful in one take, I'm not saying she's worth the money she was charging in fucking Caesars or anything, but damn. And what I was going to say about it was, we talked about, living through Beatlemania, living through Garth Mania in the 90s. Between summer of 97 and end of 98, if you were alive on this planet and had recognition of sound and sight, that song drove you insane. You were either a woman that was fawning over that movie, or you were their dude that wanted to blow their fucking brains out listening to the song 40 times.
Yeah.
There was no middle ground, ladies and gentlemen.
Trying to tell the woman there was room on the fucking door for him.
Yeah, she a bitch for that. I don't care how good she looked at them drawings naked. She a bitch for that. And then she went and hell out on the damn diamond, put everybody through a bunch of shit for 4-hour movie. No, that's a bad rose. Wrong for that.
Yep.
To jump off the damn boat instead of throwing the diamond over, you selfish bitch. Anyway, carry on. I'm good now. I promise.
All right. Coming in at number 3.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll gain some of the viewers back that we lost with Selena Gomez and shit.
She were at 130. A whole bunch of them still here. Shit.
I know. I'm surprised.
Right.
Number 3 on my list. Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory.
Oh, Linkin Park. Oh, man.
Much like
Pop Marin, at least.
Much like most people, the album that introduced me to them.
Yep.
And if there is a skip on there, it's only track 11, which is Mr. Hahn just kind of DJing and scratching the track.
Right. That's how
it's instrumental. It's a DJ track. It's him showing his skills.
But it's still fun.
But as a guy who used to DJ, not a skip.
No, it's not.
Because it's the type of thing that you want to study so that you can get to that level.
Yes.
But every single track on that album is just fire.
Yeah, no, it's... I've noticed in the time I've been working with Aaron that people either love Linkin Park or they hate Linkin Park. There's just, again, no middle ground, much like the Titanic song. But I'm one of the rare breeds that falls in the middle. I like certain albums, and some of them I can kind of whatever. This one is the one that I first heard, and Damn. Hard to figure out why some people don't like them with stuff like this.
Yeah. Honestly, this album and Meteora, their second album, both.
Yeah.
I can listen start to finish.
Yep. That's
it's
valid.
Also the era where I saw them live like 3 times.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Between both those albums. So it's like there's that muscle memory of just hearing all those songs performed live.
Yes, exactly.
Everything that came after Meteora, hit or miss.
Yes.
I'm not saying they're bad albums. No. They have skips on them for me.
No, they do. Yeah. When they were
first 2 albums.
Yeah. When they were their hottest, I was not into that kind of music, so I never saw them live and whatever. Aaron would rave about them, so would our other co-hosts at the time. But, I've come to appreciate it a lot over the last, God, I can't believe it's gonna be 24 years with those yahoos this October. But yeah, it's one of those acts that's definitely grown on me as I've matured and broadened my musical horizons.
Yeah. All right. Now we get to the hard part here.
Oh, okay.
Because I legit went back and forth as far as which should be number 1, which should be number 2.
Oh, so we're still in decision mode here. Okay.
And I'm still kind of debating.
Oh, all right.
I'm sitting here looking at him.
Do you want to toss a coin?
And no. Okay. I'm probably going to leave it the way it is, even though it's going to come off as predictable.
Okay.
But I have them logged in there. I'm going to keep them as such, but really, if there was ever a 1A, 1B for me.
Okay.
But officially coming in at number 2, John Denver's Rocky Mountain High.
Nice.
And this album kind of falls into what you were saying. I think we were saying this before the show, before we hit the live button, where there may be a couple songs that you don't have to listen to all the time, but they're not necessarily skips.
Right. You just let it cook, let it play, baby.
Yeah, because okay, you kick off the album obviously with the title track, Rocky Mountain High.
Sure.
And then you go into Paradise. Okay, whatever. Darcy Pharaoh is great. Yeah. I know that one because of his live album.
Right.
Mother Nature's Son. Hello, it's a Beatles cover.
Right.
For Baby for Bobby. Gorgeous. Prisoners, again, yeah, but it kind of fucks up the flow of the album if you skip it.
Right. Goodbye
Again. And then you have arguably his masterpiece on any album. You have the Season Suite.
Yeah.
5 tracks that just each one is a little bit different and kind of epitomizes each different season as he takes you through this journey.
Yes.
Hands down for me, this is his greatest album.
That's hard to argue. But
as far as like a studio album,
yes.
That not a compilation, not a Christmas album, anything like that, which honorable mention.
I was going to say.
John Denver and the Muppets of Christmas Together.
Yes.
I would be remiss to not have this at least as honorable mention.
No. For the Muppets at Christmas, definitely between that and Christmas Carol, it's a fight to the death for me because I just love both those albums so much.
And Muppet Christmas Carol for me, I've gotten better with it in recent years, but there's still two skips for me.
That's valid. Throw the album you had for John up just on its own. The picture again. Hell, top 10 album covers. This shit is at the top.
Yeah,
that's gorgeous. I mean, it's called Rocky Mountain High. It's kind of implied, but yeah, that's pretty. I've seen it in stores, of course, but just seeing it here for like, I forgot how beautiful that album cover is.
Yeah, I just, like I said, and the fact that that's so close to being my number one,
right? Would you say he's your favorite of all time single artist?
Probably, as far as like a solo artist, it would probably be between him and Garth.
Okay. Did you get to see John when he was alive?
Yes.
Okay, good. I was going to say.
Seen him a few times live before he passed away.
Okay.
I think it was at the Greek Theater. I know he was pretty fond of that place.
Man, I miss the Greek so much. Damn.
Sad memory.
Which one?
Sad muscle memory.
Yeah.
I remember going to see him one of the times I went. And he performed Calypso as he always did.
Sure.
And it just wrecked me because that was my golden retriever, was Calypso.
Oh man, that's right.
And we had lost her.
Yeah. That's rough.
So just hearing him sing that song, having just lost the dog,
oof.
I just lost it in concert there.
Damn, I believe it. And we've been fortunate, either seen a lot of these people that are on this list, or we still haven't yet. But the opportunity still exists. So,
I mean, even Madonna, I worked one of her concerts for Staff Pro.
There you go. Counts for me.
The building as she's performed.
There you go. I am glad you got to work the Elton John show and at least hear him live, because goddamn, he's an experience. Oh, okay. I know you've seen Elton live working.
Road.
Okay.
I went to the Farewell Yellow Brick Road tour before COVID.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's right. You did do that. That's right.
And you went to one post-COVID.
Yeah, I went to the.
I think they basically extended it because of the COVID shutdown. So.
Yeah, I went to the second last show he ever did touring, because they were both they were Dodge Stadium, and the one was in Disney Plus was the night after I went.
And then George I saw on the Cowboy Rides Away tour, so it was his farewell tour also.
Did not see George. Hopefully there's some sort of random one-off he does close by, because I'm going to find a freaking way.
He still performs. He just doesn't do the full-on touring. So
yeah, you just gotta know when to find him.
And then back to this one.
I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead. Yes.
You take John Denver, arguably my favorite solo artist. You throw him with the chaos of the Muppets. Everybody knows how much I love the Muppets.
Oh yeah.
And just some really good shit here.
It is a somehow, even with these freaking crazy Muppets there, it's still a beautiful album.
Yeah, and some of the songs like just hit you in the feels now.
Yes.
More so than then, because of the fact that, certain performers have left us.
Right.
Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas is John and Rolf. So it's Jim Henson and John Denver, both of them who are no longer here.
Right.
The Peace Carol is John and Scooter, Richard Hunt, who's no longer here.
That's right.
The Christmas Wish is just Jim.
Yeah.
No longer with us.
Yep.
And I still say that you have that song sung by any popular musician, it's on the radio every fucking year.
Yep. Every year.
Because it's a felt frog, it gets ignored.
Yep.
When the River Meets the Sea, which was originally from the Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Right.
That was redone for this album. And they basically had Robin sing it, which is Jerry Nelson, who was the voice of Emmett Otter, and he's no longer with us.
Yeah. The one track on that album that is it's more funny than beautiful, and it's rough, is 12 Days of Christmas. 12 Days of Christmas is a rough song anyway. It's long.
But then with the characters, it makes it fun.
It makes it fun enough that it's tolerable. Right. Yeah. Some folks who don't like the Muppets anyway, it's just like, oh God, it's a long song and it's the Muppets. Just no. But I crack my ass up every time.
Yeah, and that's the kickoff to the album. Like, you can't skip track 1. If you're skipping track 1, then just take the album off. Seriously,
it's like you knew
introduction to the album. Like, why are you going to skip the first song?
It's like, you made your decision. What are you doing? Get out of here with your nonsense. First damn track.
Speaking of number 1.
Yes.
It's the Beatles.
Damn it! I knew it. I knew it was going to be the fucking Beatles.
And it was a matter of which album.
Yeah.
Revolver, more so than Sgt. Pepper, I really think is like a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And it's the only album that George starts.
Yeah, that's true.
Taxman is track 1.
Yep.
Then you go into Eleanor Rigby, I'm Only Sleeping, Love You Too, another George song. Here, There, and Everywhere, Yellow Submarine, She Said, Flip the Album Over, Good Day Sunshine, And Your Bird Can Sing, For No One, Dr. Robert, I Want to Tell You, another George song. Got to Get You Into My Life, Tomorrow Never Knows. It's like, if there's a skipper on this album, first of all, you're hard-pressed to find one.
Yeah, that's valid.
But for most people, if there's a skipper on this album, it's Yellow Submarine.
Yeah.
Like, if that's the weakest song on the album,
yeah,
I think you're still in pretty good company.
And I think at this point, 50 years later, it's only skippable because we've all heard the bloody song. Like, okay.
60.
What?
60 years later.
Wait, when did this album come out?
Either late 65 or 66.
Oh, shit.
60 years later.
Okay, wait. Yeah. At this point, we've all heard Yellow Submarine. And again, if you haven't heard Yellow Submarine, follow up Vince advice. Do your homework, bro. Because, my God. But yeah.
And people only hate on it because it's such a kiddie sing-along song.
Yes.
But it's fucking Ringo. Leave him alone.
That's right. And if it wasn't for Yellow Submarine and the movie that came with it, Brian Heffer wouldn't be still employed to this goddamn day. So you all leave him alone. If you know who Brian Heffer is, figure it out. Yeah. He did the thing too. And Rory Blue.
Yeah.
There you go. Boom. If you haven't figured it out by now, for fuck's sake, it's a wrestling show. It's the Blue Meanie, goddammit. Look it up.
But I mean, trying to narrow down the Beatles album is just so difficult.
Yeah.
But I've often felt that Rubber Soul Revolver should have been a double album.
Yeah.
If I have to pick of the two of them, I'm going Revolver every time. Even though Rubber Soul has Nowhere Man.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that's like my favorite Beatles song.
Yes.
But Revolver is number 1. And again, 1A, 1B. Like,
I was gonna say, yeah.
Flip a coin any day of the week. You've got my mom and my dad.
Right? Yeah, for you, having to narrow down which Beatles choice and then choosing between them and John, it's like, no wonder you were struggling.
And like I said, that only is an honorable mention because I didn't want to have more than one John Denver album on the list, and we didn't really clarify Christmas stuff.
Right.
Considering most Christmas albums are cover albums.
Yes.
But there are original songs on there, so
yeah.
Again, honorable mention.
There are a ton of.
It's not all one person doing the album.
Right.
There's a couple of songs that are just John, no Muppets.
Right.
There's a couple of songs that are just Muppets, no John.
Yep.
So
it pretty much breaks all the rules we threw at everybody, but it's so damn good. It's like you can't even at least talk about it.
Exactly, which is why it's an honorable mention.
Exactly. All right. I mean, go back to where I need to be for promotional purposes.
Yes, for the shills.
Because we're at the shows and we're under hour 40. I'm here for it. Get back up there. All right. So.
Fucking Emmanuel.
Right? I saw that. I'm like, oh, God.
But I can completely understand it. For people that aren't in the know, John Denver, Bob Denver, like, are they related? They brothers? Like,
if you look at John Denver's facial structure and Bob Denver's, you can even get more confused. I'm just saying. I think so, anyway. Maybe that's just me projecting. I don't know. But we are not done. At least not the Constantine Studios side. No.
We still got a fuck ton of shit coming.
Yeah, just today.
This evening.
Yeah.
I will not be on this one. I may participate in the chat room, but I have gone almost the entire month without seeing TNA.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know the storylines going into Against All Odds.
Right.
I don't feel like I would be a good person to have on the predictions panel. But Noah will be hosting Simply Predicting for TNA Against All Odds tonight, 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. I do plan to start watching again come next Thursday with the fallout of Against All Odds, leading into Slammiversary. That way I can get caught back up in things. And especially seeing how things progress with this crossover.
Yes.
I mean, 25-man Battle Royal next Tuesday on NXT. Some people may be from locker rooms that others may not.
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued by the way Cody set that up.
Yeah. I am thoroughly convinced because people have been bitching since they made the announcement about SummerSlam being 2 nights. Well, how are you going to do that for all the big 4? Okay. Royal Rumble, you got 2 different Royal Rumble matches to anchor. That's one thing. SummerSlam, you can do. WrestleMania has already been done. Well, who's Survivor Series? Night 1, or whichever night. One night is Raw versus SmackDown. The other night's NXT versus TNA. I just booked your shit, Paul. Give me a call. Send me a check. Right. Anyway. And the reason we're predicting Against All Odds tonight is because that should be going on tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's it. We're good tomorrow.
I'll be working tomorrow, so I won't be able to see the show.
Yes.
I am going to be curious to find out who Jordan Grace's challenger is.
Yeah.
With everything going on in the cross-promotional world,
you
guys are doing a disservice to yourself if you do not watch Against All Odds to see who it is.
It's $10 bloody, people. It's what you used to pay for Peacock or the WWE Network, not even Peacock. Come on. Also tomorrow, over on the Stat Boy Sports Bar side of things, because the Mavericks just can't throw me a fucking bone and give me a day where I don't have to do multiple shit. The Celtics can clinch the NBA championship tomorrow. So Mikey will be conducting a watch along within Stat Boy Sports Bar. I have no idea what time that game starts. Forgive me, Mikey, if you're watching on demand.
I believe it starts 5:30 our time.
Okay.
So I would assume he's going to start it at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern.
Okay. So
need to get things clarified with him.
And we will.
That would be my guess, because we usually try to give a little pre-show hype.
Yes.
To lead into these type of things, and especially with it being a Game 4 championship clinching game, you want to give a little bit of hype.
Yeah, I had told the unfortunate thing about that is that TNA, our coverage starts at 4, so it's like I can't do both. I just can't. So Mikey will be doing his thing tomorrow. However, Saturday morning, because even though there's no longer Mr. McMahon, what happened? Oh, jeez. I hope Dallas does, just to give Mikey a little more time to cover basketball games, because damn it, he wants to so bad. But Saturday morning, we're kicking off bright and early. The time isn't on here, but we're going live at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern.
Even though WWE is starting their coverage at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern.
But the show didn't start officially until 2 Eastern, 11. So it's like, why? Why?
Yeah. I don't understand it either. Me and Noah were discussing this either on Simply Predicting or prior to.
Right.
And it's just like, I get the fact that essentially you're in a foreign country.
Yeah.
I get the fact that you want to give the people a little bit more.
Yeah.
But if you're not giving them a pre-show match,
what are we doing?
Why?
Yeah, what are we doing here?
So we're not going to worry about it. We're going to start our coverage at 10 Pacific, 1 Eastern, and just run from there because otherwise we're sitting there for 2 hours.
It's my understanding the only person that has given their predictions on air about this show was me.
Yeah.
So that'll be that hour, is me giving my
which I saw a thing in the chat room. They need somebody for predictions tonight if you want to join.
I'm the reason they need a party because I had to bounce out of it.
Oh.
I'm going to be on the road at 5 o'clock.
Gotcha.
Going home, nothing I can do. I woke up and I looked at the calendar. Shit. So I had to text Aaron. I'm boring. He gave me a stat emoji, then yanked me out of the group. I'm like, God damn it. Anyway, Saturday afternoon/evening, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. JJ, tell us about this one.
Okay. This is when the show is supposed to start. I believe, 4 Pacific. So we might go ahead and go live a half hour earlier.
Okay.
I think a lot of it just depends as far as when Clash at the Castle goes off the air.
Right.
A little bit of a buffer in between, but Mission Pro Wrestling Summer Lovin'. We are branching out, if you will, away from just the big three, big four, even if you count New Japan, which we sometimes do.
We do.
This is an independent wrestling federation that we are going to cover. First time ever, and depending on the response we get, depending on the viewership, depending on how you guys out there respond to it, it may become a regular thing.
Yep.
There's a lot of great talent in Mission Pro Wrestling. Mission Pro is owned and operated by La Mera Mera herself, Thunder Rosa.
See.
Main event is the Mission Pro Championship match, where the champion, Tiffany Nieves, La Princesa, who, if you tune into the CW and watch the NWA broadcast each week, you are very much familiar with her.
Yes.
Taking on her challenger, Izzy Moreno.
Yep.
Haley's super fan.
Awesome, man.
She has been very impressive. I still need to watch Mission Pro Mania, which is the last show prior to Summer Lovin'.
Okay.
Watch this evening, but I've watched everything from Boiling Point, which is the show where Tiffany became champion and Izzy debuted.
Right.
Up until Mission Pro Mania, which was the show before Summer Lovin'. I've seen every show.
Nice, dude. Good.
Izzy Moreno has won one match that I have seen.
Wow.
I'm going to assume she's going to win the one on Mission Pro Mania because it's for the Mission Pro Cup, which allows you to get a title shot at any opportunity you want, and she's got a title match. So
right, yeah, that's
I'm going to assume that she's 2 or 3 going into this match against Tiffany Nieves.
Okay.
Go on YouTube. I posted it in our group chat. So if you didn't already watch it, click on it and watch it. But go to YouTube and look up Mission Pro Wrestling, Izzy Moreno versus Kylan King.
Nice.
Holy fuck, was it a banger.
Right?
And then Kylan gets on the microphone post-match and basically hypes Izzy up. And it's just like you feel the emotion.
That's very cool.
You know, her talking about, I instigated you on social media because I didn't want to get a punk kid. I wanted you to bring some fire to this match against me.
Nice.
And she did. And then Kylan goes on to call her the future of women's wrestling. They embrace in the ring after the match. If you know anything about Kylan motherfucking King,
right,
this is a match that you need to watch.
Definitely.
This is not the first time Izzy and Tiffany met, as apparently there was a ladies' night out show shortly after her debut where the two clashed. I'm going to assume that Tiffany won that match because she's still the champion.
Right. Just an assumption, folks.
Yeah. So, they have history with each other.
Yep.
And granted, everyone knows I didn't watch the Black and Gold NXT. I didn't watch Noah's NXT. I know enough about Izzy Moreno, though, to know who the fuck she is.
Yes, absolutely.
And the fact that she is getting this title match against Tiffany Nieves is just huge.
It's cool.
And then you go back and you watch these shows and you watch her journey in this company, and it's just like, man, there's some good shit here.
Yes.
Again, it's predominantly a women's federation. They do have a couple of guys that wrestle from time to time.
Right.
But they're predominantly a women's fed. Roxanne Perez wrestled there. Maddie Renkowski, better known as Ren Sinclair on NXT.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wrestled there. Nyla Rose has performed there.
Yep.
Layla Gray. Trying to think some of the other names I've seen on some of their shows. Quite a few big time wrestlers. I'm gonna have the list when we do the watch along.
I was gonna say, there were 3 matches I was familiar with both participants. So that's awesome that half the card, that we have is gonna be people I'm familiar with. So that was good. Unfortunately, I won't be able to be there, but I'm looking forward to hearing the guys do the call because it's gonna be awesome. Also, speaking of good shit you were talking about earlier, open mic night after Summer 11 will feature the Jeff Meacham Network, at least open mic night debut of King A-Train from our from the ATW family and our multiple repeat offender, if you will, within the open mic night chat. So looking forward to seeing King A-Train pop into the chat room again. I'll be out and about with the family, but I'm looking forward to watching when I can, popping in when I can, hearing the feedback afterwards, because I know it's going to be redonkulous goings on throughout the night.
King A-Train is a longtime associate of Noah's for the people out there that don't know. So to bring a little bit of his family into the open mic night family is going to be entertaining. Go on to his channel, watch any of his ATW impromptus.
Yes.
King A-Train is a well-spoken, highly educated individual when it comes to sports entertainment.
Yes, quite so.
But, and just the rapport he already has with Noah is classic. So having him come on and integrate with the Misfits on our end of things.
Right. It's a recipe for chaos and shenanigans, and that's what we do on a Saturday night. So there you go.
Hashtag shenanigans. Buy the shirt.
Buy the shirt. Please buy the shirt. We need fucking money, y'all, for real. And then at the end of the month, June 27th, the timing coordination is going to be fun. I'm not going to lie. I'm supposed to be with Nikki and Bree, and their show's at 8 o'clock. But at 4 o'clock, 7 p.m. Eastern, I will be, along with Maddie Laws and former WWE superstar Maven Huffman, be challenging the Jack of all trades champion Chris Cass on Jack of all trades, of course, hosted by Greg Cherry, and that'll be in our multiverse standard time slot, 7 p.m. before Pacific, because that's what we settled on at this point. I think it's like, you know what? It's easier. It's not quite the end of the workday. It's not quite the start of prime time on the East Coast. We good for an hour. Now, granted, we're going to go more an hour in Jack of all trades because that shit always goes at least 2. Because just the banter from me alone as a challenger is going to be derail all that timing shit. But yeah, looking forward to we've got the watch alongs this week, and we got Forbidden Door at the end of the month. We've got we are AM PM and we too much good stuff up in here.
UFC 303 at the end of the month that Walter's going to host.
Yeah, there is again. This is one of those WrestleMania weeks. If you can't find something, not just wrestling, within the multiverse of media that you can sit back and enjoy, then I don't want you to unsubscribe, I don't want you around bitching about not liking anything either. So you all make the choice come July 1st. Honest to God. Because July 1st, he's coming back for his weekly shows. So, there is that. July 2nd. I guess, right, because it's June 30th.
No, I'm crossing my fingers.
Oh, okay. I thought you were doing the two. Yeah, because, July 1st is Monday. Like, I know my calendars. I have it written down. That's when Dylan starts summer school. Anyway.
Unless something drastic happens that prolongs things again. But
yeah, we shall. Much like BG say a prayer for you for mentioning that one record, we'll say a prayer for you for bringing For Love Wrestling back. But that's not going to happen tonight. Tonight we are here, today still. Thank you, all 150 of you at one point. We're down to 143 now, but we hit 150 at one point, which was ridiculous for a Thursday afternoon. Christ's sakes, people. I love you fuckers for that. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We do have our topic for June 28th, or whenever that week we go on, June 27th. It won't be the 27th. I got too much shit going on the 27th as it is, clearly. Damn, I'm booked all afternoon. So it'll likely be the 28th. If we have a work scheduling conflict, then we will work around it. But it's going to be our attempt to book a true Forbidden Door, prohibitive portal, whatever you like to call it.
It's going to be fun because I'm really trying not to run AEW down.
No, I know.
But you've got an AEW star versus an AEW star for the AEW title.
Yep.
You're doing this thing for the TNT Championship I think they're going to do a ladder match or something for the new TNT Championship.
Yep.
You got any New Japan guys in there, CMLL, or is it all AEW guys? Right now, it's all AEW guys. Takeshita's AEW. He signed a contract.
Hey!
I don't give a shit that Ospreay came from New Japan. He's an AEW contracted wrestler.
Hey, you got Naito challenging for the IWGP Championship. It's just the champion's Jon Moxley.
It's not even an AEW Championship match, so whatever.
Well, yeah, but
the most Forbidden Door thing that I think there is fucking Mercedes match.
Right. Hey, you know what? The way the story's going between Tony and Mina, we could get some forbidden shit we weren't counting on. Just throwing it out there. You know?
No. I'm all about that. I did watch Dynamite last night, the West Coast time, and watching Mina shimmy. I was like, hello.
It's like, you know what? I ain't trying to need meeting Jesus on a Thursday afternoon, but that's a whole other Forbidden Door I'm okay with opening. Bright red one. Just throwing it out there. All right. Anyway, we're going to close on that because.
But the bottom line is that the Forbidden Door card doesn't sound like a Forbidden Door.
No.
So we're going to open up and do our own Forbidden Door card, and I've already been working on matches and graphics. I may have to pull a James and do a 2-day thing.
Okay.
We'll have to see how things end up. Maybe I'll be able to whittle it down to 1 day, but
now for the 140-something people.
Yes.
WWE and NXT. AEW, New Japan, and TNA.
Okay, so we're not going outside of those? I'm gonna have to revisit my thing then, because I think I have NWA and OVW also.
If you want to throw in an indie,
and that's only because I watched Wrestlers and Billy's Adventures in Carneyland.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'm okay with the random indie or two, and NWA is indie at this point. Like for me, it is just because it's so, like, I actually downloaded the app yesterday. There's only 4 seasons. Like, they don't have the entirety of the history. Like, I don't know what is going on with the NWA, but yeah. NWA and OV, like I said, as long as there's enough mainstream access to watch it, fuck it, throw it on there. Why not? NWA, OVW, MLW. If you know somebody there, cool. Like, just as long as there's enough mainstream / very, very broad IWC recognition of still in the company here, cool. That's cool with me.
Okay.
I don't want to pigeonhole your shit since you already got it going. So
yeah, I was gonna say, like, because like I said, I watched that Wrestlers thing. What had happened was I watched a Vince Russo.
You lying?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, he's definitely lying then.
I watched a Vince Russo video, and he was comparing the first couple episodes of Billy's Adventure in Carneyland to wrestlers. And so I was like, okay, now I need to go and I need to watch these two shows so I can understand what Russo's talking about.
Sure.
And so I did. I watched Wrestlers first, and then I watched Adventures in Carneyland. And it took me probably about 2 days to watch all the episodes from both shows.
Wow. All right.
But watching that stuff, I mean, I was already knowledgeable of NWA from reviewing it, but watching the Wrestlers and OVW, definitely saw a female that I wanted to throw into the booking here. So
for me, it's hard to not think of a mega card like that without the 10 pounds of gold being there. So yeah, NWA's definitely got to be on there. So got to have the oldest championship in the world on there, brother. But for now, 4 years and a month in, we shall say goodnight from the Dads and Always on Wrestling because, well, we're done. We got our shit in under 2 hours. So we're gonna hit it before we hit 2 hours. He is the Renegade Wrestling J.D. Williams, and you will see more content on his channel about an hour and a half or so. No, well, farther away than that. 3.5 hours. Jeff can't count. Buy the shirt of the Greg Cherry brand if he can still find it. I am the West Coast Professor, Jeff Meacham. I just don't teach math for reasons. We are the Dads and Always in Wrestling. We will see you in this space in 2 weeks, and we'll see you all weekend long right here across Multiverse of Media.
The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.